All right, so you remember we were talking about Bow Wow and the fact that he was being sued because allegedly he had scammed this young rapper out of $3,000, and this was like a minor, and so her dad was coming after him. That prompted me to want to talk about the dark side of online collaborations. Things can go so badly even in the best of circumstances, which leads to you losing money and potentially loss of reputation and just a complete disaster. So let's talk about ways that you're going to avoid this and to navigate the dark side of collaborations. All right, so the first one is verifying the identity of who you're speaking with. So often we make purchases and we make commitments and sign things without ever speaking to a human,
Sure.
right? Because we're emailing, we have
Right.
conversations on social media. WhatsApp is a new way of doing a ton of business. And so making sure you know who you're communicating with is really important. Like, for example, someone had messaged me on LinkedIn and they're like, oh, we can do this for you. And it was just a bunch of emails. And they're like, here's the payment link. At the
Right.
point they sent me the payment link, I'm like, who am I
Right.
talking to? And so, I asked the girl that I was talking to, I was like, hey, is there a number I can call you on? And so I called her, and some older man picked up and he had a very heavy accent and it was kind of hard
Mm,
communicating with him. And I'm just like, I'm not going to jump to conclusions here, but you're not Jasmine.
right.
So in any case, so you need to verify the identity of who you're speaking with. What else?
That's an easy thing to do. I mean, Google some of these people. If you're collaborating with somebody, if you're collaborating with a producer and you're working on something that's like very kind of like personal and it's like artistic, it's not out of line to say like, can we do a video chat? Get yourself a Zoom call so you can verify the people. But you could do research and find out if these people are really, who they are by just, looking who they're supposed to be, reaching out through the proper channels. But absolutely like verify before you send any kind of like money to somebody that is either doing a feature or is we've even had face to faces with our mixers and stuff that haven't, when working with a mixer that isn't, working with us because they're in a different state and we're not necessarily
Sure.
going there to mix the album. And so it's kind of like a get to know you. Like I can't imagine anybody's gonna have that a problem with that, like
Yeah.
anywhere.
Yeah, just do your due diligence. So then, second, when it comes to kind of navigating what can be just a disaster with collaborations of any kind, avoid using money app transactions for business deals. We want to use payment methods like PayPal, or you could do Zelle or wire transfers, but just basically a payment method that you potentially could file a claim to get your money back. So, if someone's saying Cash App me, whatever, 3 grand, so I can do a feature, you should not be suspicious necessarily, but just kind of pause for a second. And me, like for example, on the prior thing that I had shared about calling and being like, is this legit? They wanted credit card details. I'm like,
Right.
I'd prefer to use PayPal
Right.
because I know I can get the money back if it's a scam.
And
So
everybody uses PayPal or has a Zelle account or just something, like similar to that. Like you shouldn't be going through, if they're just like kind of like if they're an independent, kind of producer or something, someone kind of small, they might have cash apps, but just tell them that you go through PayPal. Like they need to get on board with PayPal. They shouldn't be using Cash App either. And just say I don't feel like it. They want your money, so they'll have, they'll make sure they get something, but you want to make sure that your money is protected if something goes wrong.
well, and Curtis made a good point, right? So many people do this, especially, right? Record labels, right?
Yeah.
So I will, and
Yeah.
there were air quotes there, sorry, record labels. People will send me contracts like, oh my gosh, Universal just sent me a contract,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
is not
Yeah.
Universal. And they are definitely getting scammed. Like, if you pay me $1,000, we'll sign you and all this stuff. Like, oh my
You
gosh.
you released a video on the channel that specifically goes over what to
Right.
look for. There's a lot. There's like I think you give
Yeah.
like 5 or 6 like telltale signs that this is not legit, and some of them are not as obvious as you would think, but
Yeah.
you got to look at it.
Yeah, and you can absolutely learn how to spot this stuff because I've seen so many of these and I know what's legit and what's not. So I that's what I talk about in the video, things like watermarks and font size and just like there's stuff that I can teach you about.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
definitely check that out. All right, so then number 3, with all that being said, trust your instincts, okay? When it comes to money, if you got the spidey sense telling you something is off, something's off. And even if it's not, you still need to reinforce your gut instincts because you're probably right.
this goes with everything that you do in your music business. We're talking about, but when you're kind of giving money to some, but I've been in a situation where, I don't know if I've talked about on this channel, but like I was being courted, my one of my last project, we were being courted by investors. And we were being wined and dined, and like they were going to be investing like hundreds of thousands of dollars into my project and stuff like that. And it just like it wasn't like the guy was just like kind of like a scammer, just kind of like what he did,
Hmm.
as far as I don't know, he just wanted to be closer to the bands and kind of get inside access. And he did have money, but he never had like intentions on doing it. I don't know. He was one of these kind of weird guys. And you find a lot of these people kind of creeping up in the industry, and you kind of get those feelings, but it's like that promise of, oh, I'm going to get that feature, or I'm going to get that guy to remix my song, and then my song's going to go viral. This guy's going to invest in my project. But that it's, just be careful with your
With
money,
strings.
especially. Yeah, just be careful.
Well, and it's funny because what you just described is actually what a lot of investment deals look like. It's just someone who wants to
Yeah,
get close to the band and they want to get special access behind the scenes. And that's all cool. But what you need to think about before you take investors' money is that you need to deliver on what you're
right.
promising. So, A, it's usually you try to pay back the money to the investor. But also, if you don't want to deal with the headache of some dude being like, hey, I want to come backstage and take pictures, and they're all like hanging, in your group and stuff like that. Don't take the money. And it doesn't have
Yeah.
to be like, oh, he's creepy or anything like that. That's just what the deal is.
It's one of those things that that we should totally do a whole video on, just talking about these type of people,
Hmm.
because like what is this phrase, like the juice isn't worth the squeeze a lot of the times. Do you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times some of these investors that, and I'm just kind of, I don't know about other business, I'm sure it works this way, I just can talk about from the music business because I've dealt with investors on a few different times. And it's just, sometimes they're just, a lot of the times they're really kind of annoying. And like, you know what I mean? Because you could, now you
Well,
have someone to kind of answer
the
to.
reason why it's annoying is not because necessarily they're annoying human beings, but just that
No.
you're doing your thing and you don't want to be bothered. And that's totally
Well, you
fine.
just got
And people are
yourself a
like,
boss in a way, like,
right,
because you have somebody that
right,
that you're now accounting to.
yeah,
Where are we at with the accountability, which could also work good. Like, I'm just saying, the experiences that I've had have just been kind of different. Um, but yeah, I just watch out, trust your instincts. It's just so key. When something doesn't feel right. That goes with you, even with making your music, and before you release it, in your stomach that it's not mixed right when you play it for somebody. So get it mixed better, get it mastered. It's
right.
all these things. Always trust your instincts.
Well, and then the next thing is that you need to seek legal guidance. Okay, so if we're dealing with something like you're doing a paid collab and you're dropping $3,000, please go spend another 500. It is well worth the contract template that you're going to get, and get a contract saying that the person's going to follow through. When are they going to get you the feature? Are they going to promote it on their social media? The whole reason we pay people to do features for us half the time is because they have clout and they have audiences. So if you don't have it in writing, anything can happen. Now we're talking about scammers and stuff like that, but I'm talking about the real situations with
Yeah,
real collaborators. So get legal guidance. And then if you're not sure or something happens, man, you can also talk to an attorney and they can definitely do something to help you
I'm sure you deal with this kind of stuff all the time.
for sure. And there's different ways to do it. So we try to keep costs down because you've already paid for a collaboration. Now you're paying more money for attorney's fees, but we want to get your money back. And so that's what's we're there to do. And with my law firm, we not only do that for clients, and it's just a demand letter, right? So you're gonna call the attorney, I need you to draft this thing. And sometimes just sending a letter is all it takes,
Yeah.
right? They get a scary letter that's on legal letterhead, and it kind of doesn't even matter what the letter says. Of course it does. We want to make it sound great with legal references and things like that. But that's all it takes. And so don't feel like just because you get scammed and maybe you did it through Cash App and you can't get your money back, that's the end of the story. Get someone like an attorney to come help you out. If you want me to do it, I'll make sure my link is down below to Delgado Entertainment Law. Besides legal help, definitely raise awareness. Let's support each other, when these things happen. So people have been pretty good about these or about this in, communities on Facebook. Like
Yeah.
we have a Facebook group on Top Music Attorney for music business, musicpreneurs. And when something happens, let us know. And word spreads. And so they're like, don't work with this guy, don't work with
Yeah.
this company.
We recently released a video about Song Secure, which is one of these websites that
Right.
says that they're going to do unlimited copyrights for you, and they'll give you their certificate of authenticity or whatever they call it. But we're here to let you know about like the dangers that are going on in the industry, and just because with the internet and stuff, there's just a lot of ways to prey on eager independent artists and producers and people that are just looking for a break because that algorithm is crushing you. So, we're here for that. So if you guys drop in the comments if you have anything else that you want us to kind of check out as far as, is it legit or not? Well, we'll take a look.
100%. Yeah, and this is what I say. I've built the music business school side of what we do because people who need help, learning about the music business, growing the music business, getting their contract templates, it's a very inexpensive way to get
Yeah.
all those things plus weekly access to a real attorney. But on the other side of it, when you have problems, and you need to get personal representation, that's when you go to a law firm, right? That's when you go to our law firm and we provide all the things. It's just basically helping people at which point they need help.
And don't feel
And
embarrassed about it. Like, sometimes
yeah,
when you get scammed or you get taken advantage of, you're afraid to say anything because you don't want to be like, oh, I look silly because I didn't know better and I got taken advantage of. Don't be embarrassed. Like, let people know, bring the awareness.
that's right. And if you are interested in being a student and joining the music business school, you can message me on Instagram at Top Music Attorney and let me know what you're up to. I'll take it from there. All right, if you found this video helpful, make sure you give it a big thumbs up and share it with someone who can also use the help. Word of mouth is how we grow, and we appreciate you.